Time for the Stanley Cup postseason picks for round 1. We will start with the Eastern Conference. First up, the Washington Capitals up against the Florida Panthers. Florida won the President's Trophy. Washington is a powerhouse that is slowly fading, while Florida is a power that is rising up. In the end, I think Panthers win. Alex Barkov, Sam Reinhart, Jonathan Huberdeau, Anthony Duclair, Sam Bennett. The list goes on and on for Florida. Now don't get me wrong, the Capitals can never be counted out easily with Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Tom Wilson, and Nick Backstrom. This is possibly the series that sees the most goals scored in the entire first round. But Florida ends the Capitals' run in Game 6 on the road. Next up, the Tampa Bay Lightning up against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The back-to-back world champions versus no playoff series win in 18 years. 2 power offenses. But in terms of goalies, Andrei Vasilevsky has the edge over Eric Kallgren. In terms of offenses, Toronto has Austin Matthews, best goal scorer in decades for this team. But the thing is, there is no I in team. Tampa Bay has 4 players that have 25 goals or more this season. It takes a team win on the offensive side. That is why I think we win, extending Toronto's playoff drought to 19 years without a series win. Next up, the Boston Bruins up against the Carolina Hurricanes. Generally easy series to pick, give me Carolina to sweep. Again, rising power against fading power. But, the difference here is that the Hurricanes head-to-head have destroyed Boston all season. Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Vincent Trocheck, and Nino Niedrita will destroy the much weaker Bruins. Hurricanes in 4. Next up, the Pittsburgh Penguins up against the New York Rangers. One of the toughest for me to pick. Penguins trying to win before their window closes, while the Rangers' window is slowly opening up again. Can the Penguins win one more time with Crosby and Malkin? My answer is no. I am not sure what to think of Pittsburgh goalie-wise. That is why I am saying Rangers. Tristan Jarry is out. For how long? And what can Casey DeSmith do in this kind of pressure? Too many questions for me. Give me Rangers in 6. Now out to the Western Conference. The Nashville Predators up against the Colorado Avalanche. Easiest series to pick, give me Colorado to sweep. UC Saros, Roman Josi, and Philip Forsberg are no match for an Avs team stacked from top to bottom. Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Darcy Kuemper should put the Predators away easily. Avalanche in 4. Next up, the St. Louis Blues up against the Minnesota Wild. Toughest series overall for me to pick. These 2 teams are extremely evenly matched. But, when in doubt, go home team. And the home ice. Give me Minnesota in a home Game 7. Next up, the Dallas Stars up against the Calgary Flames. A lot of people think this will be a short series. While I do think Calgary wins, it'll go no fewer than 6. Dallas has given Calgary a good fight head-to-head this season. But I still think Flames will be too much for the Stars to handle. Flames in 6. And lastly, the Los Angeles Kings up against the Edmonton Oilers. I feel this will come down to goaltending. Can the Edmonton goalies be consistent and good enough? I think they will. Plus, when it comes to offense, hard to pick against Connor McDavid. Oilers in 6. That will be all for round number 1. We will be back here to talk about round number 2. With the first round now over, let's take a look at round 2. First up, the Tampa Bay Lightning up against the Florida Panthers. the Battle of the Sunshine State for a spot in the Eastern Conference Final. After winning their first series since 1996, the Panthers are no easy pushover. And it showed in their 6-game series win over Washington. But the Lightning on the other hand nearly lost in 6 to Toronto. If it weren't for tapping the puck into their own net, they probably win. Despite all of this, Tampa wins. My key thing is experience. We have that. A second round. The key to beating Florida is scoring both early and scoring often. Tampa can do this and win in a Game 7 in Sunrise. Next up, the New York Rangers up against the Carolina Hurricanes. Rangers come back from down 3-1 on the Penguins. And the Hurricanes beat Boston in 7. A series which the home team won all 7 games. So, a tough series to pick from that angle. But I still think Carolina wins. In the end, the Rangers are still a young team coming out of a rebuild. And Carolina has been in win-now mode for over 3 years now. Hurricanes in 6. Next up, the St. Louis Blues up against the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado as expected destroys Nashville. And the Blues take care of the Wild in 6. An interesting series for sure. But I am actually going with the underdog Blues. This Avalanche team has boom or bust written all over them. If St. Louis can get the upper hand in the series early, Colorado could be on the ropes. It will not be easy for Jordan Binnington against a strong Colorado scoring offense. But I think he and his Blues win in a Game 7 in Denver. Blues in 7. And lastly, the Edmonton Oilers up against the Calgary Flames. The Battle of the Canadian province of Alberta. Oilers came back down 3-2 on the Kings and won in 7. While Calgary almost blew a 3-2 lead on the Stars. High power against high power. But in the end, I think Calgary wins. While it is hard to pick against Connor McDavid, there is no I in team. And Calgary has more sharpshooters than the Oilers. Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, Elias Lindholm will overpower the Oilers to lead the Flames to winning in a Game 7 at home. That concludes the picks for round 2. We will be back here to predict round 3 when the time comes. 2 rounds down, 2 rounds to go. The conference finals. 2 teams left on each side trying to prove they are the best in the conference. Let's take a look at the 2 conferences matchups. In the Eastern Conference, the New York Rangers up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Wow! I mean, wow! The Rangers do the unthinkable and upset the Hurricanes on the road in Game 7. Not only did they win, they humiliated them. Like, if you saw that Game 7, it was not even close. Now they have a chance to avenge the 2015 Conference Finals loss to these same Tampa Bay Lightning. On the other hand, holy smokes, the Lightning did full demolition on the Panthers. Like only one game was generally close. Don't let Game 4 fool you. We destroyed Florida both physically and statistically. And I think we return to the Stanley Cup Finals for a 3rd year in a row. I think we can overpower the young underdog Rangers in a solid 6 games. Lightning in 6. Now, over to the Western Conference. The Edmonton Oilers up against the Colorado Avalanche. Well, Edmonton proved Calgary to be no match. After Calgary struggled to put away the lowest record in the playoff in Dallas. Yes, I know, the Oilers needed to come back down 3-2 to beat the LA Kings. But, the thing is LA is better than Dallas. By a good margin. And opposing them is in my opinion the most dangerous team in the conference. Colorado made short work of the Blues. Yes, it went 6 games. But it could have easily been shorter had Colorado taken care of business in Game 5. But, regardless, I think Colorado finally ends their playoff demons and returns to their first Stanley Cup Finals since 2001. It will go down to a home Game 7 win in Denver. Avalanche in 7. And that is it. My 2022 Stanley Cup Finals matchup prediction. The Tampa Bay Lightning up against the Colorado Avalanche. Will it happen? We will soon find out. We will be here to preview the finals regardless of matchup. Well, after 3 long rounds, 7 long weeks, here we are. The Stanley Cup Final. Now, let's take a look at our 2 contenders. A popular pick to make a run to these finals, the Colorado Avalanche have not been an easy team to beat. After 2 sweeps en route to making their 3rd finals appearance in franchise history, Gabriel Landeskog, Kale Makar, and Nathan Markkanen are the main leaders for this team, and their push for their 3rd Stanley Cup. Now for their opponent. For the 3rd season in a row, my favorite NHL team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, have made it back to the Stanley Cup Final. After a hard-fought 7 games against the Toronto Maple Leafs, a dominant clean sweep over the Florida Panthers, and a 6-game series turnaround win over the New York Rangers. We would not be where we are today if it were not for the likes of Steven Stamkos, Andrei Vasilevsky, Nikita Kucherov. These 3 are the main leaders for this team, as we look to be the first team in 39 years to win at least 3 straight Stanley Cups, and the 4th in franchise history. As we get set for what should be an intense series. Power versus power. Great shooters versus great shooters. Only one can come out the champion. And, I do think, we three-peat. In Game 7 in Denver. In the end, goaltending is going to play a huge factor for both teams, to try and slow down the aforementioned great shooting and scoring on both sides. And Andrei Vasilevsky I think should be able to lift this team past Darcy Kuemper to win 3 straight cups. The Tampa Bay Lightning win the 2022 Stanley Cup, and their 3rd in a row. Well, you think I'm crazy? Let me know your predictions down below. Congratulations to the Colorado Avalanche and their fans for winning the 2022 Stanley Cup Championship. You beat my Tampa Bay Lightning fair and square. The 3rd title in franchise history. An insane NHL season for sure. Sad that it is over. But, it will only be 4 months before we have hockey again.